Okay. So I'm hoping all of you can see this now, and I'm also opening up the Q&A. If you have any questions, any chats, ask me any questions here. Um, so tonight we want to talk about how to sell your coaching, and really, it is so much more than coaching. This is how to sell your coaching. This is how to sell your services, whatever business you're in. And I know, Derek, I know where you're at. Wendy, we just talked about where you're at as one of the coaches. Billy, I know where you're heading, or at least part of that. And everybody else that's jumping on board, again, thanks for jumping on board. So tonight we're going to talk about how to sell your coaching or anything else, and it's the secret of the S&C. The S&C, and really this is how I have built a very successful business, how my income gratefully just continues going up and up and up every month, because we've learned how to properly identify who we're going to work with. And so tonight's going to be kind of carefree, kind of fun. We're going to go through this. My goal here is to be done in 27 minutes. It may be done in 7. I may be done in an hour. We know these Wednesday night classes are fun. We'd like to have fun. Now, if this is your first time being here on a Wednesday night class and you're one of our coaches, mark it on your calendar. We're going to be here almost every Wednesday night to bring you training. I told you when you got started, whatever your goal is, I'm going to help you get there. And this is one of the ways we're going to do it. If you haven't yet gone to our website, don't go now. Stay on the webinar. But you can go to prosperwithwayne.com. Prosperwithwayne.com. You're going to be able to download our book. You're going to be able to see our webinar about our life coaching certification program and everything else that we're doing. And some of the future programs, some of the future products are going to be out there very soon too. So tonight, how to sell your coaching or anything else. And it is the secret of the S&C. Now, what is S&C? And we're going to talk about that in just a second. But everyone wants to sell more, period. And if you're in sales, you want to sell more. It's just human nature. It doesn't have to be greed. It's just human nature. You want to sell more. Coaches, consultants, small business owners, network marketers. Everyone wants to sell more, but how hard is it? And I'm going to tell you this. I work with coaches every day. I work with different business owners every day, consultants, realtors, and I deal with network marketing every day. I've got a very solid, growing network marketing team, and we're working more and more in that team. Why? Because we want to bring the product to more people. We want to increase our volume, and it's a win-win. And we're going to talk. I'm not going to get into the philosophy of selling, why you should sell. If you missed last Wednesday, we talked about that a lot, and I really went into deep about the power of selling. So how many remember, if you remember the what's it called? Now-and-laters. I think that's what he called it. Now-and-laters. Remember those little candy? Those candies were so cool because I would buy those candies for like 5 cents. I think it was 5 cents, maybe 2 for 5 cents. I don't remember. Maybe I'm thinking way back. But 5 cents a piece, and I would get on the school bus, and I would sell them for 25 cents a piece. And it was like, I couldn't believe people were paying this. I'm like, don't they know they can get them right back there for 5 cents? But I wanted to hold on. And why did I sell them for 25 cents? So I could get a couple bucks up, and I could go back today and buy it next day and buy even more. And so what I did was I truly served them now, but I also built up a reserve of quarters so I could serve myself later. So when it comes to selling, we want to talk about this. Are you sorting or are you convincing? Are you sorting through people? Are you sorting through the prospects? And when is it sorting? And when can you sell them? When should you sell someone? Okay. I work in one area of coaching I work in is called high ticket coaching, should I say. And these are coaching packages that are $8,000, $15,000, $20,000 coaching packages. And what I have learned in working in this area and helping business owners in this area is that it's really hard to take somebody, just hear me now, that is brand new. They've never seen what you're offering them and convince them to pull out their American Express and give you $20,000. Happens, but it's hard and it's rare. And I'm not sure you're truly serving that person there. It's a lot easier to sort through the people that have already been preconditioned to know they need what you're selling. It's a lot easier to sort through the people that have a high enough need. That means their pain threshold's through the roof, or their desire for gain is there. So it takes me back to this: just because you have what somebody needs doesn't mean they want it. And some of you have seen this. Some of you have walked through this, I'm sure. You may have something they need, but do they truly, truly want it? Is this making sense? So I want to I'm going to ask you in the chat. I'm trying to pull up the chat now. Well, I've got the Q&A open. So I'm going to leave the Q&A open. If any of you have any questions, let me know. And so how many, and I'm going to see, this is just to see any thoughts here on this. How many of you have ever known that guy? Come on. I'm not going to ask you to speak out here. I've got you muted. So how about that girl? How about that guy? That guy that always gets the girl. The guy that always gets the girl. And I've got give me 1 second, guys. I've got a box open here. I cannot close. Let me close it. Okay. Okay, so that guy that always gets the girl. So I'm not going to mention names here just in case he's watching this, but I grew up with a great friend, and everywhere we went, he got the girl. I mean, if we walked in it seemed like if we walked into a room and there was 5 girls, 6 of the girls liked them. If there was 3 girls there, 5 of those 3 liked them. It was like every girl and some. And yeah, he was a good looking guy. You know, I'm like, but man, what are you doing? What are you doing? And it was so funny in high school. So we go up, we go on, we get married and life goes on. And those who know my story, I went through a divorce and so did he. And so we became friends again. We were hanging out again. And to be sure, if there was 3 girls in the room, 4 of the 3 were going to like them. It was just, how are you doing this? And realistically, it was probably 1 or 2 out of a group, but it just seemed that way. And I never could figure it out. I mean, I looked at the way he dressed. I listened to the words he said, and he wasn't that smooth, but he just seemed to know what to do. And then there was that guy that never gets the girl. And that was probably me back in high school. And, I just, whatever, I tried and I talked and I tried to say the right thing. And, nothing just worked. It just didn't work. And I asked him one day, and this is important. Now, if you're wondering, why is Wayne talking about this? Just hang tight. This is how you sell. I said, man, what are you doing? What are you doing to convince these girls to go for you? It's crazy, man. It's unreal. I don't understand. What's the difference? And I want you to look at this, what he said here. He said, Wayne, it's not what I do. It's what they do. I look for those who look for me. I look for those who look for me. He said, and what I do is I notice. And I knew he was always quiet. I thought he was shy. But he was always quiet when he walked into a room. And maybe it was that mysterious look the girls liked. But he was always quiet, but he would look. He would laugh and talk with us guys, but he didn't eyeball. I mean, like that girl's eyeballing. Anybody ever just have somebody eyeball you like that? He didn't eyeball the girls, but he would look and he would notice what he called those unconscious signals. There's like they look at him a certain way, or when he would catch them looking, they would flip their hair. And he said, Wayne, look at their body. If their body's turned kind of towards you, they're open for communication. If their body's turned away from you, they're not interested. And he understood body language naturally. He also studied it. But he knew if that person's showing a signal towards me, then I have an opportunity to begin conversation. He said, I'm not convincing them. I'm sorting through. And it worked. He got very little of this. He had a lot of this. So what's the difference? Is what they are doing. And so I'm going to jump ahead here in a minute and talk about that in starving audience, which is, I hope you're taking notes tonight. What we want to do is we want to look for people that are looking for us. We want to look for people that are looking for us. So Derek, I know the ministry business you're in. And so what you want to look for is people that are raising their hand saying, I need help. Wendy, Billy, your business, you want to look for people that are naturally looking for that assistance. It's really hard. Let's talk about network marketing again. So I love network marketing. I love the fact that I can take consumable products, build an organization that pays me week after week after week. And that's fun. It really is. But if I've got to talk to somebody and go, hey, have you ever heard of this company? And do you know about, nutritional cleansing? Do you know about this? And I got to educate them. I've got to educate them that, no, it's not really a pyramid. No, what it really is. And I got to start explaining what a pyramid is and what it's not. And I got to go through and explain. I've got to convince them that network marketing is for them. Then it makes my job a lot harder, number one. Number two, if I can convince them that it's for them, somebody will convince them that it's not. Okay? It's a lot easier to look for people to go, hey, I really need help in this area. I need a second income. Hey, I really want to build residual income. I really want this out of life. I really want to get in better health. And it's easier for me to go, oh, it's interesting you said that. And then start sharing with them about my opportunity. So I want you to ask yourself, again, this webinar here, I'm not here to sell anything tonight. I'm here to help you. I want you to start asking yourself, what is my main solution? Now, you've heard me, if you've coached with me, you heard me say this 1,000 times, you'll hear it 1,000 more. What is the main problem that my prospect has, and what is my solution? If you don't have that, if you don't have a problem, you can't have a solution. Tylenol, Advil, all of the medicines, NyQuil, they would never sell unless there was a problem first. But if there's a problem you can solve, then look for the people that know they have a problem. They know they have a problem. Or you can easily convince them they do. Take note of that. They know they have a problem. You can easily convince them. You can sort. You can sort. And we'll get into that more. We can get into some real word-for-word linguistic language patterns in the next few Wednesday nights of exactly what to say to help sort and help convince. This isn't and teach all tonight. This is to get your appetite going. This is to get you thinking. Okay. Next thing is it's easy to find those, like I said, those who have a problem or you can easily convince. And the easiest way to do that is go to a starving audience. A starving audience. I was recently at a meeting, loved the meeting, great meeting. So if anybody in the meeting sees this, please take that first. I loved it. But it was a 9-hour meeting with no lunch break. A 9-hour meeting with no lunch break. And I had a very small breakfast because I got there early, and I'm in the meeting, and and I spelled lunch wrong here, as you can see that. So can you make a very successful income with misspelled words? Yes. But a 9-hour meeting with no lunch break. So, but what happened was it was a great meeting. They just wanted speaker after speaker, and I started getting hungry, and there was no restaurant there. There was no restaurant for, within a short little distance, and I didn't want to miss the meeting. And so all of a sudden, things that didn't sound that good before, these little protein like wafer kind of things, were wonderful. And it wasn't Starbucks coffee, but they had like coffee, but it was wonderful about 6 hours in. Do you understand? And what was really amazing was as soon as it was over, we were like, hey, here's a Mexican restaurant 1 block away. Let's go. And I mean, it was absolutely wonderful. In fact, I told my wife it was probably the best Mexican I've ever had. Probably not. I was probably just really hungry. So a starving audience will buy your product. Grab a hold of this. You need an audience that is absolutely starving. They want what you have. Okay? They want what you have. It's real easy to sell somebody something if they already want it. So again, it's not those who need, it's those who have a desire. I want you to grab a hold of this. So number one, we talked about just a minute ago, is really going back to those who have a need or can be easily convinced. Number 2, who knows it? Who is starving? Who really wants what you have? And the next note here, a bleeding neck needs triage. What's a triage? Triage is get it in. It's quick. It's handled. It's like an emergency situation. It's an emergency situation. And we'll handle that right now. And there's a story that we used to tell in an evangelism class, actually. And this story was of a little boy that he fell down. I don't remember the whole story. Running through the woods, and he fell down. And he fell in a stick actually stuck him in the neck, and he was bleeding profusely. And so, so they get him to the hospital, and they're holding his neck, and it's bleeding. And yes, it's a little gross, but it's a really cool story. And so they're holding his neck, and it's bleeding. And the doctor's trying to look, and they're trying to make sure that he doesn't bleed out. They're trying to stop the bleeding and do the repairs. And so the doctor's there, the nurse, everybody, and the little boy's holding his finger up, doctor, doctor, doctor. And the doctor says, yes. And he says, I have a splinter. Well, the splinter meant a lot to the little boy that didn't understand the massive need. Does that make sense? But the bleeding neck has to be served before you can fix the splinter. And so when you're looking for people that have a massive problem. Remember this. Write this down. If you don't do anything now, pen and paper, write this down. What keeps your prospects away at night? What keeps your prospects awake at night? When they go to bed, they're thinking about it. So I'm going to tell you, last night about probably 9, 10 o'clock, I got a text message. And it was a challenge. That's the word I'll use. It was something in business I didn't want to have to, I was hoping wouldn't happen, and it came up at 9, 10 o'clock. And I'm texting, I'm trying to handle it, and it almost, I couldn't sleep well. I was dreaming about it. I woke up in the middle of the night thinking about it. I woke up this morning thinking about it. And listen, coaches need coaching too, okay? So I had to coach myself. I had to get myself back in track. But the point is, if you had come to me last night and said, Wayne, for $1,000, I will solve this right now, I would have pulled out my credit card. Wayne, for this amount of money, this problem solved, I would have pulled out my credit card. If you're going to get to $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month in coaching, if you're truly going to build a successful practice and help people, if you're going to sell more of your coaching, more of your consulting, if you're going to sell more of your product, whatever you're selling, maybe you're selling a book, then you have to find people's needs and offer a solution. So I'm gonna leave you with a couple images tonight. I'm doing this on purpose. Okay, come on, guys. I'm giving images on purpose because you remember stories. You'll remember the story of the guy that always got the girl and the guy who didn't. But I ended up with Candace, so I won. So you'll remember that it's the starving audience. You'll remember the bleeding neck, the child with the blood profusely pouring out of his neck with a splinter in his finger. You'll remember those because I'm painting word images. I want you to grab a hold of this. You have to do the same. You have to find a person that has a massive need. And everyone, read this, everyone may not need your product, but who truly wants it and who wants it now? Who wants it now? Who wants your product and who wants it now? So you sort by targeting, and targeting is easier than ever. So I want you to write this down. There's a 5-step sales process that myself and Ron Batchelor came up with called TRCLC. Now, I'm not going to get into but the T tonight, but the targeting, that's first of the TRCLC. Target, you want to target your placement of ads. Now, this is important. If you're running ads for your business, you're running promotional posts, you want to target your placement of ads and social media posting on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, local news, local events, etc. What I mean by target is you want to target to the people that are going to read it. If I'm targeting, if I had a really cool product for teenagers, I'd probably target it on Snapchat, not LinkedIn. Is this making sense? If I had something local, a local business, it'd be easier to get it on the local news or a local newspaper or something than it would go and try to place it in a national ad somewhere, USA Today or something. So LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, local, you want to target locally. And so your question is your product or your service something that's going to be handled locally or something that's big? Are you a local realtor? Are you a local car salesman? Or are you an international coach? And so you want to look at where you can place yourself. And you want to target not just your placement of ads, but your message. What I mean by that is your message. You want to let people know who you are. Let people know who you are in your message. That means your post. That means your video. That means everything you do. If you are a fitness coach, you want to let people know I'm a fitness coach and I help women over the age of 40 who need to lose extra weight, or whatever your message is. You mean very clear in that message. Very clear in everything that you do. You may say, hey, I'm Wayne Sutton. I'm a coach's coach. I help train and certify life coaches and get them to a full-time income. That's really clear. That's who I am. And I need to target that message, not just ads, but everything that I do needs to display that. Now, one thing I want to talk about later, we cannot talk about tonight for time's sake, see how we're doing on time, is targeting using data, Facebook ads, etc. When me and Rome developed the TRCLC program, there was no Facebook. So when we talked about targeting, we really talked about finding the right people with a need or desire, most importantly, for your product or for your service, and how to target them with specific messages. Now with Facebook, everything changed. Facebook really gave us the ability to target with data. And yes, there's privacy concerns, et cetera, with Facebook, but it's still the place to, if you're looking for a specific zip code, a city, a state, you're looking to do an event somewhere, you can target not only the geographical location, you can target if you want it to be males or females. If you want it to be in this age range, you can target what they enjoy reading. Before we started this call, we were talking about this book here, and so Derek, I could target people that like that author, or I can target people that like that book. So let's go back to network marketing. There's a couple big network marketing trainers. I can develop a post and I can target people that like them, that follow them. Is this making sense? So we want to target people that have a need or a desire. And we want to do that through social media also. So how do you target? Number one, be consistent in your message. If you're a fitness coach, you're a fitness coach, you're a fitness coach. Okay? You can't be a fitness coach one day and a travel agent the next day and a yoga teacher the next day and then back to a fitness coach. Now, I have my hands in multiple businesses, but in your messaging, you have to be very consistent. You also have to be frequency. Frequency builds trust. It's actually the time spent with somebody and how often actually is what builds unconscious trust. But frequency builds trust. So you'd rather somebody see you 100 times with a similar message than one time with a big message. 100 short messages than one long message, period. Frequency builds trust. So if you're going to have a message, what is your message? Who are you serving? What's your message? And how are you going to get it out there over and over and over? And clarity is the key. Clarity is the key. Years ago, Derek, Mr. Lopez, actually, I was on the phone with somebody we know, and Mr. Lopez, at the end of the call, we were doing a conference call, interview, and at the end of the call, he said, Wayne, he said, I got a question for you. I go to your website, your picture's not on your website. And we're talking probably 12 years ago now. I said, okay. He said, I Google your name, and the person that pulls up is obviously not you. I said, okay. He said, so let me ask you, who are you and why should I care? Who are you? Ask yourself even as you're listening to this webinar, who are you and why should you care? Why should people care? You've got to let them know. This is who I am, and this is why you should care. And I don't mean that wrong, but there's just so many people grabbing for people's attention. So again, back to the fitness coach. I'm a fitness coach that work with women over the age of 30 or over the age of 40 to help them lose weight and, whatever. And this is who I am. Okay. I'm a spiritual coach to help people to discover their divine destiny in God and walk out their purpose. And you need to have a very clear message. And we're going to talk about crafting that. We talk about it in the course. We're going to talk about it more here. One last thought. Obscurity is your greatest enemy. Obscurity is your greatest enemy. I'm just going to tell you guys, I'm not a fan of tattoos, but if you ever want to get a tattoo, this is one you need to get. Write it somewhere you can see it. Obscurity is my greatest enemy. Obscurity, if people don't know you, they cannot do business with you. Period. If people don't know you, they can't do business with you. You can be the best real estate agent. You can be the best minister. You can be the best coach. You can be the best at whatever you do. But if people don't know you, there's no way they can engage with you, and they can't spend money with you, and you can't serve them. Think about this. Now, I use Tony Robbins a lot. I really have a lot of respect for what he's done for this industry and what he's done for people. But what if Tony had learned the skills? Now, let me just share with you. Tony started in a field of neurolinguistic programming. He never even got his certification. So he started, he learned, and he went out and just did his own thing. And he took the Bruce Lee, absorb what is useful, reject what is useless mentality. But what if Tony hadn't went out? What if Tony had just said, hey, I'm just going to work with these 20 or 30 people, and that's it. And maybe they'll refer some to me, and maybe they'll tell a few people. Then we wouldn't have the coaching business we even have today, because people wouldn't recognize life coaching. They wouldn't recognize transformational coaching. So Tony did a great, beyond even what he probably even knows, in doing, by going out and finding the people, going out and doing what it took. So my question for you is, if obscurity is your greatest enemy, what are you doing to change that? Now tonight, let's look at this webinar. This webinar, we only have a handful of people on there. I did not send it out to our major list. I sent it to a very small list. We have a handful of people, but guess what? I'm recording it. We're going to be able to place this webinar out on YouTube. We'll put it through Facebook ads, and we'll build an audience. We'll build an audience, because somebody's going to go, wow, I want to work with you, Wayne. I want to know what you guys are doing. And that's why you serve people, and it will open up doors. Obscurity is your biggest enemy. So target where they're at habitually. I see some of you guys, and you're on Facebook, you're on LinkedIn, and that's cool to have multiple channels. But you need to master one source, master one traffic source until you're where you need to be. In fact, one of my coaches, he said, Wayne, one problem, one solution, one traffic source. One problem, one solution, one traffic source until you're at $1 million. When you're at $1 million a year, then you can start looking to expand. And so my question then is, where is your $1 million at? Is it in Facebook? Is it in LinkedIn? And it may be, but where's it at? Where's it at? I know network marketers that have built $1 million businesses on Facebook. I know that ones that are building on LinkedIn. I know personally coaches that are doing multi-million per year just on Facebook. But listen, where are they at habitually? That's the key. People are always looking to habitually place yourself where they're at. But where's your market at? Where is your market going to be, when it comes to social media? And then even outside of social media, where's your market? Where's your market? I know a minister that has a great traveling ministry, and what he does is he literally has his brochures. He has all of everything we're talking about here. Who he targets certain churches. Okay, I don't have time to teach all that. And then he contacts those churches, and his traffic source are pastors of churches. And he goes and he brings the gospel, and he's got a great ministry, but he has a system. He has a system to meet the people. So target where people. So the question for you, where are your people at habitually? Where are they at? And here, sell to the hungry, guys. Sell to the hungry. When I was doing this slide today, I was hungry. I'm doing some intermittent fasting, and I was hungry. So I've had a big cheeseburger with potato wedges. But truly, sell to the hungry. Sort through the masses to find the hungry, and selling becomes easy. Now, how do we do that? And again, for time's sake, I want you to know we're going to cover this a lot in our upcoming upcoming program, upcoming course. But you really have to indoctrinate. You've got to sort first. Sort first. There's enough people, of 7 billion people in the world. If you just sorted out the ones that already want what you have, your job becomes a whole lot easier. Let me say that again. Think about this. How many small businesses are in America? I'm going to Google it. I don't even know. Let's just Google it real quick. Hey Siri, how many small businesses are in the United States?
Okay, I found this on the web. many small businesses are in the United States?
Okay, so let's see what Siri pulled up for us. SBA.gov. Wow. There are 58.9 small business employees. Okay, that's great. 30.2 million. 30.2 million small businesses. I want you to write that number down. Some of you are going to go into business coaching. Let me say this. Business coaching, I know from experience, business coaching begins at about $1,000 a month. Doesn't matter. That's bare minimum. 1,000 to 1,500. And then depending on the business, depending on what you're bringing, if you're bringing a consultant, you're bringing other services, it can go to 3,000, 4,000. But out of that 30 million, could you find 20 businesses that you could serve? Can you find 20 business owners or managers or CEOs that you can serve, helping them in their life? You're at 20. And if you can, at $1,000 a month, you're at $240,000 a year, but almost no overhead. Come on, guys. That's what I'm saying. Sort through the masses to find the hungry, and selling becomes easy. This is how I do it. Wayne, how do you go and you minister and you coach and you train coaches and you're writing books? And I'm writing 2 cool books right now. How do you do all that? I sort as much as possible. So when I have conversations, it's with people that really want what we have. But should you convince? Now, come on. How many love my ShamWow? I sat there today. Let me tell you my big challenge today. Should I use Billy Mays for this slide, or should I use the ShamWow guy? And it was a toss-up. But I went with the ShamWow. But I still like Billy Mays. Now, God rest his soul. But should you convince people? Is there a time for this pitch? Yes. But only as an automated backup system of engaging education. Billy, I love what you're doing. Billy's doing some Facebook Lives. He's bringing content. So content that engages and content that brings education will build an audience for you. Now, this next slide I'm going to show you, just glance over it. I'll explain it. This isn't a guarantee how you do it. This is a great slide. This is kind of a generalization. Okay, step 1, video ad. Step 1, I want you to look at this. I want you to look at the audience. It says at the bottom of that, on the left-hand side, large audience, let's say 100,000 people. So this could be, if you're looking for, maybe you've got a video that says 3 ways to lose weight in April, 3 ways to lose 10 pounds, or whatever. I don't know what it is. Just a video ad, brief. Look at this, brief 10 second. It could be 10, 15 seconds. And hey guys, I got to, and so let's take it a little bigger. Let's do this. Let's look at something I do. So I've got a video ad that says, hey guys, I want to give you a free book, How You Can Become a 6-Figure Life Coach. Pick up the book at lifecoachlifestyle.com. Pick up the book. What happens? I send that to a large audience of people. I target people. I know I target people that I want to reach, and I'm not going to get into how to do that. There's certain keywords. There's certain ways of targeting. Step 2. So they get the book. What happens then? They see another video. This is a 30 to 60-second video with problem, statement, and value proposition. Actually, with me, they go through a series of 3 videos. They have an autoresponder set up, 3 videos. They're a little longer than this. But we'll look at this at the bottom. 10,000 of the first 100,000 watched the entire first video. Okay? So the audience has got smaller. We cast a wide net, but the audience gets smaller. But 10,000 have watched it. Now they're not just got a free ebook floating around in their email somewhere. They're really going, wow, here's the problem. Here's my statement, my solution. There's a little value here. Okay? And then what happens? They go to another video. Now, of the 10,000, we might down to 1,000. This is my true audience. This is the people I say, get on this 60-minute webinar. Get on a 60-minute phone call with me. Jump on, let's learn, let's talk, let's see. And in that place, I bring people into our business. So what about you? Who's the big audience? What is the big audience? And then from the big audience, you're going to hone down to your true fans. So what do? We target the audience. If you're a weight loss coach, if you're a spiritual coach, if you're a real estate agent, if you're a car salesman, who's your big audience? Okay? If you're a car salesman and you've got a city of 100,000 people, you could do Facebook ads, but you could do, car events. You could do a lot of things, but do you really want to try to sell to 100,000? No, because only probably 10,000 of those are really going to be maybe thinking about a car right now. And maybe only 1,000 of those are going to be the ones that are looking at what you want to sell. But how great would that be? Target the people, educate them. I want you to get this. What that word there said, educate. It did not say sell them. Educate them on why they have this problem. Educate them. Have you tried? You've counted your carbs. You've cut out carbs. You've done this. You've done this. And you can't lose weight. Here's why. And talk about ketones. Talk about ketosis. Maybe you're 40 years old, you've dated, you've had failed marriages, failed relationships, you're lonely, but guess what? Here's one thing you can do to turn your life around, and you share with them your coaching program. You don't say, hey, I can help you as a coach. You educate them. Remember, right here, we're in the convincing through automated backup system. That means I'm not spending a lot of time on video on step 1 or 2. You set it up and you let it work for you. That makes sense? You set it up and you let it work for you. You put a video out on Facebook, you spend some money to sponsor it and get it out in tens of thousands, or you do LinkedIn posts or whatever you're doing, and you let the people that flow through funnel into that target audience that have been indoctrinated. Indoctrination is not a bad word. Indoctrination just means they've seen. They go from a place of not knowing anything about you to knowing about you and actually wanting to work with you. But first, sort and sell them your services. If you have 100 people, in fact, let's use something different. Let's use a real estate reality. About 7%, depends on where you're at in the country, about 7% of the people are going to move in any 1 year's time. 7% of the population in a 1 year period. So that means of that 1 year, take 7 divided by 12, what do you have? Less than 1% wakes up and says, hey, I think we're going to sell today, or we're going to buy today. So you've got to reach that person. If you're consistently marketing that one out of whatever, that 7%, if you market to that same audience A here, all year long, you're going to get 7% of them go, it's time to do something. And that 7% will build you a fortune if you do it the right way. If you're targeting people that are entrepreneurs and you target them for a period of time, again, we don't want to hit them once. We want them to see us over and over again. It builds trust, it builds this like factor, and it also makes sure that we're in front of them at the right time. That's indoctrination. They begin to see you as the expert. They begin to want to work with you. So what's your next step? Before we jump there, let me ask you, is there any questions? I'm going to open up the Q&A. If anybody has any questions, let me know. Anybody got any questions at all? And also, if this class has been good for you, I'm going to ask you to be sure to do this next step. So what's your next step? Your next step is to join us. I told you tonight, those I talked to, do not bring a credit card. We're not here to sell you. I'm here to help you. I want you to go to lifecoachlifestyle.com. If you haven't picked up our book, pick up our ebook. Go to lifecoachlifestyle.com, name, email address. You're going to get our ebook, and you're going to see how I do this. Wayne, what are you talking about indoctrination? What are you talking about sorting? You're going to see, because my video, we're going to give you the book. We're going to send you some videos. We're going to take you through the process. And the beautiful part of this, guys, is I'm only sorting. If you read the book and go, not for me. If you go through my video and go, not for me, that's okay. I promise. For the one that does say, Wayne, I'm interested, let's chat. Then I'm going to bring you on board. I'm going to train you as a coach, and I'm going to help you. You can also jump down to howtosellyourcoaching.com. If you've enjoyed this video, it'll be on there. But if you've enjoyed this video, go to that page. You can get my book. You can look at my webinar. You can scroll through. And at the bottom of the page, you will see all our blog videos. We do our videos by blog, all of our blogs by video, blogs. So you'll be able to see that as well. So give me 1 second, guys. I want to try one thing. Okay, so here we are back here. Any questions, guys? Any questions? And I'll be able to I'll put that back in up in just 1 second. But it's lifecoachlifestyle.com. and it is howtosellyourcoaching.com. So for the recording, I'm going to probably stop, I'll cut this part out and I will put this up on social media and Facebook. But while we're on here, Billy, Derek, Wendy, I'm going to unmute you. You don't have to speak, but if you have any questions, if you have any thoughts, I would love to. Anybody got any thoughts real quick? Any questions? Anything I can help you with about your business? And again, we can always cut this out if you want to. Any takeaways? Anything that you think would be helpful for you?
Hey, Wayne, this is Billy.
Hey, brother.
Hey, what's up, man? Good to see you on here. Really great information. Enjoying it. In my industry, I am trying to introduce, nonprofits, kind of a different way of creating streams of revenue through product creation, online stores, those types of things. So I'm, the one I'm talking to, so my strategy now is I'm reaching out via Facebook video. So I make a video for, I'm talking to lead pastors, youth pastors.
Right.
I'm making a direct video. I'm sending it right through Facebook. Haven't really done any Facebook advertising yet, just because I'm still trying to narrow down. I'm trying to get as niche as possible. And so anyways, I've been pumping out these videos, and so I've been setting up meetings. But a lot of times I get people kind of going, well, I don't know, I don't know if I need that. I've never heard about that. Who else is doing it? And then, so that's kind of the thing. I mean, it's not a high value, product or anything. It's really for us to, our goal is to set up 1,000 stores and make residual revenue, off of those stores. So set up fees, very minimal. So I guess like when you're talking about educating, something new or something different, especially with nonprofits, mainly work with churches. It's like 90% of my, clientele. Like, what is the time frame before I go, man, maybe I should just scratch this and move to another niche market? That I understand.
Listen to me, Bill. That's a great question. Number one, I remember a guy named Sean. I won't mention his last name. I talked to Sean about 12 years ago, and I said, man, I'm having a hard time because I'm really working in the Christian sector. Here's what I'm doing. And he offered, here's a guy who's doing $30,000, $40,000 a month at the time. And he offered his heart to me, and he really listened. And he said, Wayne, let me explain. He said, for about 7 years, I tried to teach Christian time management. Pastors need it. Christians need it. I come from a Christian perspective. He said, what I realized was I was going broke. I could never get more than $2,000 or $3,000 a month, and that was a struggle. I had to get jobs, and I couldn't. He said, so for me, he said, what I did, Wayne, was I dedicate Thursday afternoons to the ministry. I dedicate the rest of it to business, the rest of the week. He said, because I had to jump out of that target market to build a business. Now, I'm not saying you're having to, but I'm saying that's just a consideration. That's why I do small business coaching and other coaching too, and train people, because we need the revenue, and then I can go minister. So it's just a consideration that you may have to shift over to another business that can see the value. But first, before you do that, is I would ask myself, and I'll help you. We'll come up with some ideas, but I'd really ask myself, how can I, on top of what you're doing, the stores, and I love the concept, I really do. But on top of that, how can I reach these pastors? How can I reach these leaders with an education outside of that? Does that make sense? What can I teach them? Can I teach them the power of brand recognition? So you go do your homework and you realize if somebody sees a logo X amount of times, they begin to trust. You start talking about things in churches that are important, and you educate not on your service, you educate on their need.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's good. And that's kind of and that's really the angle I've been kind of pushing at.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I have a background in ministry, was a youth pastor for, a decade. So I understand the struggles of, like producing streams of revenue or, budget control, all that kind of stuff for youth
Yeah.
ministry in particular, but also for churches, as a whole. So I think really this year, the tax changes of donations and what that means when you file your taxes, like there's a whole slew of like, hey, how can we create additional streams of revenue for nonprofits, and really connect with people through those, like Tom's really started the movement, buy one, give one. And so that's what we're trying to do is say, hey, why don't you connect with the, really a new generation of givers, by kind of going, hey, why don't you support our gear and help us, and then really sell them the vision through that interaction, rather than just, hey, here's the offering plate kind of thing. So
absolutely.
Anyway,
Remind me off of here. I don't want to say it publicly, but remind me off of here, or if I see you at church, remind me of a local ministry that does something similar to Tom's. And I don't follow them as close as I used to, but I know they've done very well. They've really been able to help a lot of people, and they've really been able to hire employees. And so they're here at Wilmington Business. I'll feel you, just remind me. Say, Wayne, what was the name of that company? And I'll get you that. But so let's look about what we talked about earlier, Billy. Really casting that wide net is going to be kind of, there's a book, I'm not going to get it to show it to you. There's a book called High Probability Selling. This book was popular in the late 90s and is a 300-page book that I can summarize in 30 seconds. And it really was a very quick, do you need this? And if you got a yes, then it was an open door to give a presentation. If it was a no, it was next. There's a real estate coach and real estate guy named James Festini. And James, literally, you can watch him on YouTube. He sits just like this, got his headset in, and he sits there. And I was like, what's he doing? What he was doing is waiting for the auto dialer to dial people. And as soon as they pick up the phone and be like, hey, this is James Festini with Century 21. Are you looking to sell your home by chance? Just that. No, I'm not. Oh, okay, thank you. Click. Hey, this is James Festini with Century 21. Are you looking to sell your home? And that might not be exact yet, but it's almost that exact. Are you looking to sell your home in the next 6 to 12 months or something like that? And he said, listen, I might go 2 weeks and get no's all day long. And I thought, that I couldn't do it. But anyway, he said, but when I get that one yes, I've made $15,000. So it's high probability. Now, I don't want to sit there and do that all day. But think about it, works for him. He makes multiple six figures a year. But think about this. If you did have a way that you could reach out quickly to these pastors, churches, nonprofits, and my coach says use a 9-word email. I can never get it quite the 9 words. But in other words, something very, very quick. It could be something as simple as, hey, are you still pastor at New Life Cathedral? Simple email. You don't tell them who you are. You don't put your business. Billy. You put your last name if you want to. In the subject line, 1 word, question. Question. And then subject of the box, you go, hey, are you still pastor at New Life Cathedral? And what you're wanting is that response. Yes, no, yeah, great. And then you can give a little more of an introduction. My name's Billy. Here's what I do. Would you object to taking a 2-minute view of this, or a 3-minute view if you have a video, whatever, very small bite size. And so we do this in network marketing. Man. I'm just telling you, we call up, hey, are you still selling insurance in Raleigh? We do emails. Are you still selling insurance? Well, what's an insurance agent going to say if he gets that email? Yeah, I'm still selling insurance. You want to buy some? So they come back. Yeah, I'm still selling insurance. So, no, I'm in the car business now, or whatever, Okay, yeah, how can I help you? If they don't email back, we don't email them again. But if they email back, then we go, great. And we have another I'm not going to give it all here, but another 2 to 3 sentences that we give. Would you object? Not do you mind looking at it? Would you object to looking at it? Are you closed to the opportunity? No, I'll take a look. Then we get on the phone with them. And so what we want here is small little, again, we're sorting. We don't need everybody to say yes. I don't need to convince that pastor. I don't need to convince that realtor. I don't need to convince if there's somebody else. And that's why I love, and if they say, no, I'm not looking great, do you know who might be? No, I'm really not open to that. I'm really, okay, great. Do you know who might be? Simple. No, I really don't know anybody. Thank you for your time. God bless. Move to the next person. But if you'll sort through those, one of my best leaders, in fact, in my network marketing team, was a simple phone call like this. I said, listen, you may not be interested in this at all, but have you ever thought about, and I mentioned the health benefit, as I'd love to shoot a video to you. That's all I'm asking. And it's okay to say no. I say that a lot, guys. I always tell it's okay to say no. Give them an out. I'm sorting. I'm not convincing. She loves the company, loves the product, just brought on a business, her first business or her second or third business person, and she's really doing great. So the point is, look at what you can do quick. Billy, did I mute you? Man, I did not mean to mute you.
No. I muted myself.
Oh, you muted yourself. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good.
So
this is great information. Thank you.
What we're going to do, what I would love to do is think how, me and you'll get together, how can you truly reach more people quick with a question that starts a conversation. Also, outside of, and I don't know if this is even something you want to do, outside of the nonprofit, can you go into another area that would, like real estate or whatever, that would see the need for these stores? But here's the thing. Here's the question that I'm going to leave you with. Because I love the concept you got. But what I couldn't answer for me is, how does it serve me right now? And you've got to find that person, like we said, they've either got to see the need or easily be convinced of the need. And they go, we could do this. You're like, oh, I hadn't thought of that. That's good. So think about how, and sometimes, guys, listen to me. This is real important. Derek, Wendy, I know you're life coaches. This is real important. When we talk about an avatar, your ideal customer, use your imagination. God gave it to you. Imagine you're talking to a client and they're like, well, this is what I'm facing. And then you come back. I mean, come on, talk to yourself. Nobody cares. And they do, just you're in the wrong company. Talk to yourself and imagine how you would. I role play with myself as far as sales and marketing and coaching and ministry. I role play a lot, and with my own self. So ask yourself, what would I say to make a pastor, a nonprofit leader, or whoever go, I didn't think of that. And if you find that, you've got yourself a big business. So Derek, Wendy, anybody else? I'm going to unmute everybody. Any other questions? Okay. So here's what I need you to do, guys. Go to Derek, Wendy, you've already gone through my life coach course. I know you have. Go through listen, just go sign up again if it lets you with the same email. If not, use another email. Just so you can see the sequence of emails I'm going to send you. So you can see the videos I'm going to send you. So you can automatically begin to see that. Another thing we're going to talk about in a few weeks is how to take all of these no's and indoctrinate them through Facebook, custom audiences, and how to do some very, very affordable indoctrination. So, no, I'm not really ready. I'm not really into that. That's okay. Great. Thank you. And you're going to see me for the next 12 months. You're on Facebook. And I'm going to educate you and love on you and convince you unconsciously that we're going to be able to help you. So we'll get into that later, guys. Again, I've really enjoyed this. I hope this has helped everyone. If you need anything, again, go to, in fact, I'm going to ask you to jump over to How to Sell Your Coaching. Let me put, How to Sell Your Coaching. Let me go back to this page real quick. I want to, if I can find it. Yes, right here. HowToSellYourCoaching.com. I'm going to ask you to go there. Just look it over. It's a new site. Even if you're not into coaching, it's really how to sell. It's how to market. It's how to help people. And go to that site and then do me a favor. Share it on social media. Come on. That's how we build a business, by helping one another. If I can help you in any way, guys, let me know. I'm here for you. I appreciate you all. And be back next Wednesday. Next Wednesday, we're going to go into another area. I've got my notes. Hang on. Probably going to go into linguistics. We're going to go into word patterns, language patterns that capture attention, and how to sell with stories. How to sell with stories. Probably going to jump on that next week. Unless you let me know something else you need. Thanks, guys. I do appreciate it.
Man,